Hi guys, welcome to another episode of QQ. I'm Paul Weston. This is
Nathan Smith.
and we're gonna do Kingsman, a Secret Service or the Secret Service, perhaps. Yes, the Secret Service. Jesus, I should know that. But just so everyone knows, this will be a spoiler-free review. We'll basically quickly talk about strengths, weaknesses, and whether you should go and see it or not. We'll get right to it. And Nathan, why don't you give us a quick synopsis and then tell us what you gave it?
So Kingsman, it's directed by Matthew Vaughn. He's on a bit of a roll as far as, prominence in Hollywood. He just did Kick-ass, which was loved by a lot of people. Did X-Men, which one was that called? First Class, yeah.
Yes.
So this is actually another adaptation of a Mark Millar graphic novel. Mark Millar also wrote Kick-ass, so they've got a bit of a collaboration going on here. It's a movie about, I guess, kind of like it's paying homage to 70s, 60s spies, I guess, and supervillains, that type of like James Bond, golden age type material. It's pretty pulpy stuff. It's violent, it's slick, it's pretty funny, to be honest. I liked it. I think it's funny. I don't think it's a great movie, but I think it's enjoyable. I think it's a good date movie. It's good to go for a laugh if you just want to enjoy it. And
You would take your date to this movie?
I think people could have a lot of fun in this movie. Yeah.
I would take a girlfriend of a longer standing than maybe the first date.
Well, yeah. Okay. Well, let's go to the basic premise. So, so we got a relative newcomer in the cast. His name's Taron Egerton. And he plays the son of a spy, and basically he kind of gets recruited into this secret service, which is known as the Kingsman. Colin Firth kind of picks him up, and, Samuel L. Jackson's in this movie. He is sort of the supervillain of the movie. He's does a really interesting job. He has this kind of strange way of speaking that I thought a lot of people in the theater found quite funny. It plays on a lot of those similar tropes. Bad guy wanting to end the world, interesting things like that. And the slick, well-dressed spies have to go stop him. I'm going to give this a B. I think it's an enjoyable, fun, pulpy, kind of popcorn forgettable movie. It's not something at the end of the year that I'm really going to remember too fondly, but, at the time of watching it, I had a pretty good time.
Yeah, we also just watched Whiplash, so comparing the two movies, we're just like... we're sort of reminded of something that's a little more thematically strong versus what Nathan essentially said is this is a movie where its strengths lie in sort of, it's just a good movie to watch to sort of release some stress. It's got some good action scenes.
Very slick direction.
If by direction you mean like visual shots and that sort of thing, yeah, definitely. And I'm not always a huge fan of action sequences, just because it doesn't always necessarily feel very visceral to me, but I think this film does a very good, perhaps slightly repeatable job. A lot of it has to do with sort of some nice camera work. I think the strongest element of this film is definitely the lead's acting.
Yes. Well, I think just the acting in general. Colin Firth is awesome. I'm just going to say that. You don't hear that too often. Colin Firth is awesome. He's a great actor, but for the first time, he's just awesome in this movie.
Awesome, like badass?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he is badass.
Yeah, it's a very cool element. But I do really want to say that Taron Egerton, he is definitely someone I think is going to, if he gets another shot and that sort of thing, he's going to be a really, really interesting actor to watch. I thoroughly was impressed. He did a very good job of, I think this might actually be what you're going to say, he did a very good job of when he had to do these sort of one-line quibs and being funny, he did it very well, but when sort of the scene kind of called for someone being a little more serious and sort of have more legitimate stakes, he did it fantastically. So I don't think I can give him a high enough praise for that.
He brings the gravitas of seasoned veterans like Tom Cruise, people who know the action role and what's needed. He brings that to this movie, and I've never seen this guy before, and he does a great job. He knows when to have a wink and a smile or when to just play it straight face.
Yeah, it's his next movie I'll definitely watch just because he's in it. Sam Jack is just so funny. He's probably my second favorite part of the film.
Like people in the theater just laughed every time he opened his mouth.
Yeah, they did a very someone Tom Cruise thing in Tropic Thunder, where it's just it's something you don't expect from the actor, but they still do it quite well, and it's very interesting in that capacity. It's Sam Jack. I mean, like, I can't handle blood, and doing this lisp and all that sort of stuff. I think we've already kind of mentioned the weaknesses to it. It's essentially, it's like a well executed 7, or like for me a very strong B minus, just because it's a good action movie, but there's nothing more. I don't feel like it really goes to broke on any thematic statements or like story structure. It's just it's well executed on something I've already seen before. So
yeah, I guess where it kind of falters a bit for me is, without spoiling anything, obviously, like, I think it has this mentality to just keep building, and by the end of the movie, it was kind of at some pretty ridiculous heights, and I was kind of like, alright, I would prefer it to be, like, pulled back a bit, bring it back to where it was when it began, in the first and second act. It's really interesting because it's playing with, like, the idea that this can exist, that these people are here, and it's funny, but it just kind of goes a little over the top by the end, for me.
Yeah, and I think at times it struggles a little bit with sort of the rules that it creates for the world, where like sometimes these characters can do like backflips and like shoot people with like precision, accuracy, and then other moments we have to believe that these are like real people, and like someone can smack over the head, we'll knock them out and that sort of stuff. So it struggles a little bit with that. That said, if you're just looking for a movie to enjoy, don't have to worry about it too much or be sort of emotionally tormented or anything, because there are certainly movies like that. I would recommend this movie. So again, B minus from me, a B from Nathan. Go see it
on a cheap night.
Yeah, on a Tuesday night or something like that. And I think it's very that was fun. What's next? Anyways, if you don't have anything else, I think we'll go straight to the discussion where we actually break down the film a little bit more. So we'll talk about the issues that we had and some of the things that we actually thought it did quite well, because there are a few parts that we thought it did admirably well. So please join us on the discussion once you've seen the movie, and see you next time, guys.
Thanks for listening.